You know, the Meeks Mountain Trails, and I've said this 1,000 times, it's truly a gem of Hurricane.
And when you're talking about trails that are about 3 feet wide and a right-of-way that's about 100 feet, it's absolutely devastating.
It's more than just the business part, it's the health, the mental health, as well as the physical health for this community.
This isn't just a Hurricane small little trail system. This is a community of trail users, enthusiasts, beginners, and everybody in between. You know, and from an economic development standpoint, wow. I mean, we have these big races, 100K races every year, different 5Ks, 10Ks, mountain bike races, fundraisers.
Definitely the trails being there was the reason that we decided to open a bike shop here in Putnam County. What probably a lot of people don't realize is the proximity of these trails to town. You know, having this, like, you know, this is our central park for Hurricane. You can leave your car, be in the back country in just minutes, and then come back out and there's restaurants, there's of course bike shop, you know, there's just the closeness to this community is what's so special about these trails. If AEP would go through with their current proposed plan, it would be devastating for my business. You know, we rent bikes for people to go out there, and an impact to those trails would just be direct impact to us, you know, what we're trying to do. You know, I'm not the only business that's done well because of the trails, but it's more than that. I just see so many kids and families and dogs and, you know, all of us making use of these trails. And I think if AEP goes forward without really taking the time to realize what's there, you know, they're looking at paper and maps and not realizing what this community has put into those trails, it would be a huge blunder on their part. So I'm really hoping that they, you know, do the due diligence, realize what's there, and then obviously reroute around the Meeks Mountain.
This is how we built it, every bit of it, all 32 miles. You know, the city of Hurricane has a Hurricane Development Authority group, and a buddy of mine named Tony, he knew that I was a real estate developer and asked me, he said, hey Brandon, you ought to attend this meeting with me sometime because, you know, your skill set, you know, you might be able to help city of Hurricane with bringing in some new businesses and just, you know, have a lot of contacts nationally. In this first meeting, they were talking about trails. Ben Newhouse at the time and Vanessa were talking about how they have this, you know, what's called the bowl, and we call it the bowl, but they had this little path that they wanted to continue on, this 15 acres that they had. They're like, hey, we'd like to go up there and, you know, maybe bulldoze or build a trail. And Tony says, hey Brandon, don't you mountain bike? He's like, you know something about trails, don't you? And I said, yeah, I love to mountain bike. And being the real estate guy I am, I looked at the map and I was like, you know, 15 acres, you might be able to get, you know, maybe 1 or 2 miles of just a walking trail of sorts. And in my mind, as a real estate guy, I started looking at the bigger map and looking around it, and I saw where this Meeks family had 600 acres that surrounded this 15 acres. And I said, there's an opportunity to maybe build some trails. I said, will you just give me the opportunity to go hike this and just get a lay for the land? And I prayed heavily over it, and I thought, you know what, maybe this is God's plan and put me in the position to do this right now, especially with my skill set, my background, and just loving trails and being outside. So I committed to it. And so the way I started was I said, you know what, we're going to start on Saturdays, and we're going to build every Saturday, 8:30 to 12. And that's what we're going to do. And sure enough, you have a lot of people who want to come out and help build, but they can't make that Saturday morning. But I told them, I said, listen, as soon as we get these things built, we continue to build, just use them. Because the use is just as important as the build. You know, why build trails if you're not going to have trail users? And that's what I told everybody, and it made them feel comfortable about that because they realized that them coming in and compacting the trails just by using them was just as important as us digging them. And so I think that really, really resonated with people because they didn't feel like they were separated from it. So nonetheless, 2 or 3 builds in, it went from 3 people to 7 people to 15 to 25 up to 40 people at one time. All these different people that came in, I didn't know any of them. Didn't know a single person that come out and helped build. A along the way, there was a couple buddies that decided to come out and help build, and they've continued with it. But anyhow, we went from, and this was in 2018, October of 2018. We went from that point when the kids and I started building all the way to now. I've had over 550 people come out and help build. We have, 109,000 plus uses a year. Over 25,000 of those come from 50 minutes away or more. And so we have an economic development impact here of, close to $1.3 million, I think is what was roughly calculated, and that's only going to escalate. When I learned about all this, again, just extremely sad. Then you get nervous. But right now I'm at peace right now because I know no matter what happens, He's got his hands all over this, and He's in charge. But I also know that we have a lot of good folks that have supported this so far. Valley Park, when they had the first open house, I really don't know what the number is. I've heard anywhere from 500 to 1,000 people. I think the mayor said 800, but I really don't know what that number was. But what I do know is there was not an inch of grass over there or a sidewalk or whatever that their car was not parked on. So whatever the capacity is, that plus some that came out in and out for 3 hours from 4:30 to 7:30, all those folks showing up, I think that was just a testament to what this trail system meant to them, because you can't even hardly get a voter turnout like that. But for them to come out and support this the way they have, it's all because they all feel like they have a sense of ownership out here because they've all participated in that. And their names are all over it. You look at the trail signs, there's folks that can walk you up and down these trails and they can tell you who was there the day they built them, what all went on that day. And that sense of ownership, you can't duplicate that, you can't replicate that. And I think that's really kind of where we're all right now. Is our mission is get this line rerouted. You can't duplicate or replicate the family experiences that have been out here, and you can't do it in the way they have done it previously, maybe when other trail systems, because it's so compact. I know all these things as far as it's all speculative, but I'm at peace knowing that our mission is to stay in tune with God in this and make sure that we're putting Him at the forefront to guide us.
The trails are one thing, but it's the people. It's the community. I have so many new good friends and shared experiences that we have with people now just because of these trails. I'll tell you, we put on a handful of great events. We have the City of Hurricane Crush Run. We also have the Hurricane 100K. The Hurricane 100K is bringing people in from 20 states into our community to do a trail run. Doing 100K, the bigger the better when it comes to that. But we get to showcase our trails and showcase our community and the hearts of the people that make this place really something special. What's really cool about that event is when people show up, we always say, our biggest bunch of volunteers are the same people that built the trails that have this pride of ownership. They're like, you're coming into our house, you're coming into our home. And they'll say, welcome to Hurricane, what can we do for you?
We from the city and Meeks Mountain Trails and the whole community are really just asking AEP to please work with us. Let's all work together. It could really be a good thing for AEP if they turn into hey, we didn't know this was here, we didn't know it was as big as it is, let's all work together and make it even better than what it is. Go around it, choose a different route, that type of thing, but work with us and be part of it. That would be my hope.
I hope that this whole mess gets a lot of people who maybe didn't realize the Meeks Mountain was there. I hope that this can be a positive and get the outlying community to realize, they're hearing. Anybody who's scrolling social media sees, wow, there's 99% of people are up in arms over this. Obviously there's something here worth protecting. So if you haven't, come check it out. It's a great thing that we have right here in our community, and we're very proud of it.
This is not something that we are worshiping. We are not worshiping the trails. We have a higher God that I personally worship. My friends that are Christ-like brothers and sisters, we all share the same sentiment. We all know that this is a vehicle that He's provided us. But that's something that we've wanted to make clear too, is that you know, regardless. We're not worshiping the trails because that's just not it, but it's a great vehicle, and we want to make sure that we can continue to provide it. So.